What? Hi guys. Hi Ben. How are
Good
you?
morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Oh,
Good morning. And good morning to everyone. Man, I have missed you. Man, I have missed you, Mr. Curtis. I have missed you all.
I missed you too. Oh my God, it's amazing. It's been so long.
It has
We have
been,
not
man.
done this show in a while. It's so good to
Yeah,
see all of you.
it's awesome.
Man, Jason, happy always is here.
Good morning, Jason.
Now it's a show.
Now it's a show. Now we can actually enjoy ourselves.
That's right.
Awesome. Ben, how have you been? How are you? What's going on?
Man, woof. I'm great. I'm great. It has been such a powerful season. I've gone from in very strong grief, and yet because of the practice I've put in, I have space for it and it's
Yeah.
moving, and that is turning into immense growth. Like I feel like a phoenix rising from the ashes,
Yeah.
and I'm so lit up about like dude school is popping right now.
Huh?
There's a lot of men, including myself, getting some serious transformation. And I'm also bringing some of this work into the corporate world with an incredible executive coaching team. And there's not a business in the world I don't think we can make a change for. And
Really?
um, I want to share that here publicly because I don't think in the past I want to share something. I want to cough one up, and that's that I used to really be afraid of and resistant to the corporate world,
Oh my God, me too. Totally.
and yet,
Intimidated, right? Like really intimidated by it all.
yeah, or turned off, or like it just felt like
Yeah.
an energy that was like not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, intimidated is another word for it. I didn't think I had anything to add value to. I'm like too much of a artsy or softy or something, whatever I made up
Hmm.
about myself until it hit me. And it's been some reflections from other people in my life that have allowed me to help see it. And that's like how I am enough and how what I have is incredible, powerful value in medicine and how much my leadership's needed in the world. And some of you listening may be like, duh, dude, this is what internally for some of us, myself, it's a lifelong journey to learn to love myself and understand my value, and
I,
actually not
mhm.
just understand it, but like step into it, use
Yeah.
it, to
Yeah. I think that also happens also in phases and levels. Don't you think? Like I find that I love I love doing I love doing work on myself, right? I love doing work on myself. So I will get to a place where I'll be like, oh, I love myself. I'm really proud of myself. I've come so far. And then 6 months, 9 months, 3 years, 5 years down the road, I go, wow, I really that was only a level of loving myself, acknowledging myself, being proud of myself to a small degree, and I think that we want to also acknowledge wherever we are at in the space of wherever we're at, that it always increases, it always gets better. So it's not like, and I tell people this too, just like you've been, we're like, this is our business. Our business is to empower others. This is what we do. This is our passion. This is our excitement. And when I have that vulnerability and I say to people, hey, listen, I learned a new level of loving myself, they're like, what? What are you talking about? You should be the master of loving yourself. And the answer is yes, at the place and the time and the space that we are in that moment, for sure. But this is truly a how can we grow? How can we expand? How can we share that energy with the world? And that is truly about letting go of the past, right? And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is really making peace with their past, making peace with the past to create a different future, right? And so, what do you perceive for you, Ben? Was that space for you where you go, okay, you know what? I am not that person who's afraid of corporate America anymore. I am not that person who's intimidated by the suits or the money or the big business or whatever. What was that for you?
it's a great question. It was that I finally started listening to the reflections that were around me. Like I
Nice.
started calling for I asked for greater. That's what it
Hmm.
was. I kept asking for
Yeah.
greater, to be shown to be greater and to be of greater service in the world. And
Right.
how that showed up is the manifestations that came as a company saying, we want to hire you again as our yoga and wellness person, and put it in uh, put you in different corporations, and suddenly we're going to give you a huge giant company that you're going to teach bring some Tai Chi to. And I'm like, what? These people are going to do Tai Chi. And then they do, or
Right.
meditate. And
Right.
then, and it just became greater and greater till I saw, wow, I'm really needed here. I was in a room of executive leaders, CEOs, presidents, and seeing the difference I was making. And it just, at that point, I could no longer deny it.
Yeah.
It
That's
was just
beautiful.
there. And I looked around. So I guess asking.
That acknowledgement too. That acknowledgement. I think we don't recognize and realize we always get what we ask for. We always get what we ask for. Everybody, everything that's happening around us is a reflection of what we've asked for, right? And so what you just said, what I heard you say at least, is that you acknowledged that these energies, these people, these situations were what you'd asked for. You'd asked to impact and impart your gift or your talent or your love in the world. And this is how it was showing up, right?
Yeah, I think that's a really yeah, I think that's true. It's hard to pinpoint, but I think if we ask for and we're willing to receive, and also I've done the work to create the container for. So the other thing I think
Yeah.
I've done is I've embodied this work.
Okay.
So I have a coach. I worked with a coach, Preston Smiles, who talked about creating a somatic body for these things.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring more money into your life or wealth and abundance, like create a body for it. And
Yes.
part of that is how I've talked to myself, the mantras I'm saying, starting to reprogram my brain that I am allowed to receive more and be of
Beautiful.
greater service. And then also starting to exercise earlier, starting to move my body in different ways, starting to really go after what I love unapologetically. Like at
Yes.
42, I just started snowboarding again, and I almost broke some bones, but I like covered my body in pads, and I did it with integrity, and
Yeah.
I have flown. I went from probably one of the most painful, frustrating days of my life to one of the greatest days of my life in the matter of a month, because I just kept showing up for it.
Yeah.
And this thing that used to be like horrible and dangerous and uncomfortable is now like brings me freedom and joy.
It's beautiful.
So as we're talking about how to let go of something, like people are like, you're crazy, you're over 40, you're going to break something, right? But what if you started doing things with integrity
Yeah.
and going after it like your life depended on it? Like there's been breakdowns when my partner was supposed to come or something, and I've ended up having to go alone. And those are some of the greatest days. And I've got
Right.
that I need to choose being alone. And when I'm choosing being out there, I'm in church.
Yeah. I
There's
love that.
nothing that can stop me. I met a guy named Curtis that
Yeah.
like wants to learn to surf. And he's from Korea. And like he was next to me, just these things. And oh, and there's a guy I've met there. We keep running into each other on random
Uh-huh.
days. And
Yeah.
I think I gave him some pointers the first day because I had just had a lesson, and some
Uh-huh.
dude gave me pointers.
Yeah.
And he came back and found me. He's like, dude, you helped me so much. And we've become friends. We
It's
exchange
amazing.
numbers. We're like, are you going today? And
That is amazing. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And the last thing I
Exactly.
want to share is I quit trying to do, like, I quit making my partner and my immediate relationships responsible for my self care. And I started putting my self care in and asking for help and
Yeah.
enlisting my friends and brotherhood and teams of people around me to
Right.
support me, because I've really learned over this time, especially in grief and miscarriage. And Cassie and I are finally talking about our music and miscarriage. I mean, this
Yeah.
is all about freeing our past, right?
Right.
And it has been I've seen that I need to heal these things with myself, with other men, because even though we as humans are not binary, like our programming becomes binary. So some of this has needed to be with me healed with other men, and some of Cassie's stuff is need to be healed with other women, like not with me. And
Absolutely.
so we've, I think putting some integrity back in, like scheduling. I have appointments with people that hold me accountable to step into my greatness now,
I think
or
it's
to
also
not be empowered, to like just
right.
listen and allow me to be a blubbering mess. So I think getting really intentional about having the support you want and need and asking for it, and then allowing other people to support you.
Yeah, you said something that really I want to highlight, and you talked about how, our partners, we have to do the work ourselves, right? And even we expect those that are the closest to us, oftentimes we acquiesce or we give over our happiness, our joy, or our success, or our validation. We give it over to the people that we so-called love, people that are closest to us. And that is what I noticed, and quickest ways to disconnect from your own light and your own joy. Like, you have that for ourselves so that we can show up in the world to be that for others. And then we can see it reflected in our partners. But if we're waiting to justify us, we're waiting for people to love us, we're waiting for people to tell us that we're safe, that we're happy, that we're protected, then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in more of that vibration of waiting, right? That is an old program. That's from the past. Instead, choosing, hey, you know what can I do today that would fulfill me? What can I choose today that would make me happy? What can I try today? What can I explore today? What can I discover today that would be a contribution to my life and to those around me? And then fill up that vessel, work with that vessel, and then all of a sudden you'll start to see your partner is like, wow, you're happy. And you know what? I'm inspired by that happiness. What can I do to also experience and feel that? Speaking of, my
Yes.
partner just chimed in with a few stars. So it's exactly, I mean, this is the energy. The energy is, what can we create within us for us that could be a contribution to the world, and not just wait for it to be handed to us, not wait for opportunities, not wait to be validated. Validate yourself. See how awesome you
Mm,
are. See how
mm,
fucking awesome you are.
mm.
Nobody else has to do that, you know? Nobody has to write you a check. Nobody has to claim from the top of the hills, oh my God, this person is amazing. No, because whenever we are waiting for that to happen, it never works out the way that we want it to. We're not creating it. We're in that reactive stage where we're waiting for it to happen. But I love that you had highlighted this, Ben, in your journey right now of saying, hey, you know what? My partner and I, we go through this, and we've been on this journey, and we've gone through these things, and I'm working on myself. And when I work on myself, I can also work on my relationship, right? Which is so beautiful.
Yes. Thank you
Hi,
for that
Bren.
awareness. That was incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
People are feeling this. I want to say hi to Paid to Drive, and hi, Rocky. Everybody's listening. They're giving us feedback as we go. He said, if we put this in 1 to 5 minute videos, our channel would blow up. And to
I
reach
love
out
that
to him if
idea.
we need help. So we should talk about that.
That that is so cool. Thank you. Who is that? Rocky?
Yeah, and Paid to Drive. He's
Awesome.
on YouTube, and he's just been really, really awesome. He watches a lot of our shows. I'll put him up here on our so
Oh,
you can see what
yes.
he looks
Paid to
like.
drive.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Exactly. And thank you to also Bren. Bren is here. She's supporting. And man, exactly, brother. Change your mindset, you change your life. Fuck
Mm.
yeah. Exactly.
Pete,
So
thank you, Pete.
racing. No,
Pete
I
has
like to
gotten clear of
also
this. His
thank you.
name is Pete, so we don't have to call him Paid to
Thank you,
Drive
Pete.
anymore. Thank you for the
Ah,
reminder, Pete.
thank you, Pete. We won't forget. I would like to actually add a little something here, which
Yeah.
I always I'm humbled, and I'm so in awe of the universe and the choices that we make and how truly aligned we are. Ben, today is the new moon. Okay, so those of you who don't know astrology, I'm an astrologer. It's one of the my favorite things working with energy. And today is the new moon, and today's the new moon of Aries. And the new moon of Aries is actually the energy where there is no past. It's the first sign of the zodiac. Okay. And the new moon is the time and the place where we plant new seeds, where we create new opportunities, where we ask the universe, hey, universe, this is what I'm choosing. How can you help me? What can you show me? What can you bring in? Ask the universe, be the demand of that energy. And on the new moon, the energy is so powerful, especially today because it's Aries, and Aries is all about freedom. We talked about that. That's what we're here to say, is that freedom is the place with which we all really, really, really want to be at, where we all really want to go. Okay. Now's the time to choose it. But you can't choose freedom if you're holding on to the past. If we're holding on to the past, we're going to be tethered. And so I want to invite all of us, every single one of us, to really spend some time today releasing yourself from the past. And that's what Ben and I have been talking about making peace with these things in your past, about working through some of these things, acknowledging that you're in the driver's seat of your life. This energy that we have today, and if you're listening in the future, it doesn't matter. You're with us here and now. That energy is so powerful. It's so powerful. We create our lives. And if we create our lives from the future, we're going to have a completely different result if we completely create our life from the past. So let's stop creating our life from the past. Let's stop creating our life from the dramas and the traumas, and instead create from possibility. That's why I'm so I so love working with you, Ben, and I admire our time together, because every single time we check in, I see I'm like, wow, he's really growing, he's really expanding, he's really changing. And you know what that does is that reminds me that which I see in you is a reflection of me. And if I can acknowledge your growth and your transformation and the magic that you're doing, and I go, wow, that's really cool, I'm growing too, right? We can help uplift every single person to that next level.
Yes. Here's to that.
Yeah.
And thank you for
Cheers.
that reflection.
Of course.
Yeah, Daniel, it's been like, I feel like I've been watching you on a rocket ship, seriously, over the last 3 to 6 months. And
Thank you.
there's been days where I'm like, what am I missing, universe? And I'm just remembered, I'm reminded of, I get the download, like, that's not your journey, dude. You're on a different path. And just be happy for your friend as he's like traveling the world. Like, maybe you guys can figure out a way to link up. Right. So I've been pulling for greater. And
of course.
And I think just asking what's right about this situation that I haven't gotten.
Totally. And
it's
you know what else?
Cool to hear like an old school phone for the first
time. I know, isn't that funny? I'm in my aunt's house. I was like, oh, I haven't heard that in a while. That's kind of fun.
Totally like the sound.
It's the universe calling, Ben. The universe is calling. The universe is calling you, saying, hello, motherfucker. Wake up.
Yes, exactly. And it's been so there for me too, because someone, I was sharing with this, I was on a discovery call with a new client. He was like a little trepidatious, and he was like, I don't know what to do. Like, what am I going to get from working with you? And I said, I have no idea. I'm here to empower you. And we were talking about the Dell stuff, and I said, this like whole, I was telling him about the podcast, and dude, you're getting well. And he's like, it's so awesome, dude. And I'm like, and he said something to me like, I don't know, like, dude, you're good to Dell or something, that like in the past I told him he laughed about something. And I said, yeah, it's funny now, but I actually want to let you know, this is the first time in my life I've been able to laugh about it. Like, this was a serious source of shame and pain for me in the past. If anyone was like, dude, what happened? Why'd you get arrested? Mm-hmm. Like, I'd be waiting tables. It'd be like, dude, why are you waiting tables? Be like, I don't know. I'll call my fucking agent. Ask them, like, I was blacklisted from the industry. It was really painful. I got arrested. I dealt with addiction and alcoholism. And it was rough. It was rough. And there was always something greater though. And I kept asking for it. I felt haunted by my past.
Mhm.
And there's an exercise I had in a coaching class about getting free from our past and being willing to release it. And what I realized is I'd never
Yeah.
been willing to release it. Like I wore, the Dell arrest like a scarlet letter. I wore being in 9/11
Totally.
like the scar of Cain. Like I wore these
Yeah.
things on my sleeves for you to see, and this is why. And when I started getting that was just made up and that I was choosing, and I started to see that maybe I could choose something differently. And I created
It's
a whole
amazing.
play called Dude, You're Going to Hell, about freedom from suffering, about being willing to release our past. And the visual of the play is that at the very end, I'm in a cell the whole time. And at the end, I just lean into the cell door and it opens. It's been unlocked the whole time. All I had to do was
Brilliant.
walk out. And
Brilliant.
that gives ourselves permission. Like, where are we in this cell trying to and all we have to do is just
Yeah.
walk out, like
I think
just
you should
shift.
I think you should turn that into a movie. That is
Okay.
such a great that would be such a great like documentary. Not even a documentary, but what a beautiful visual, Ben. Like how often do we put ourselves in these cages when you can just walk out? Right? You can
Right.
just walk out. It's the door is open. You think it's locked, you think it's closed. It's not, but we're just afraid. We're afraid to push it, right?
I
It
think of it
reminds me.
with lions and elephants too.
Yeah.
The circus just popped in my head. Like if they saw that they had a choice,
Mhm.
they could just leave.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need to be there like with this tamer, this dude. Like
Yes. Totally.
they just be
You
like,
know,
bye.
have you ever heard the I don't know what you want to call it, like the 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 what would it be called? The test that they did with the flea in the jar. Have you heard that? Yeah.
Yeah,
So the
it's similar to like an elephant being chained down when it's little and it pulls and it thinks that
Yeah, so
it's not strong enough, right?
they put the flea in the jar, right? They
Hmm.
loaded it, and then the flea kept bouncing up and down trying to get out of it,
Hmm.
right? And the flea would hit the roof and hit the roof and hit the roof. And then all of a sudden, one day they open the lid to the jar and the flea goes to the roof, to the roof, to the roof. And because he's afraid to actually jump out.
Hmm.
But it's not that the that he can't the opportunity is there for him. He's just afraid to choose it because he's
Hmm.
afraid of what's going to happen. Will he hit his head again or whatever? It reminds me of that story. It's so beautiful because if we could just see that all the opportunities that we're asking for are here,
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
I was having dinner last night with a man who has a really amazing, somebody who's been in my life for quite some time. And he's a developer, a real estate developer. And he was telling me, he just kept saying, it's so easy for me to make money. Money is easy. Money is easy. Money is easy. Money is easy. And it was interesting to listen to him have this point of view about how easy it was to make money, right? And then he started to ask, he started to talk about his health. And he mentioned something about his health, and he was like, "Now that's something that I would like to. You can't buy health, and you can't do this, and you can't do that." And I was like, "But you can change your mindset." And you can change your attitude. And just as easy as it is for you to do $1 billion worth of business, it's just as easy it is for you to heal yourself. And he looked at me like, well, I don't know about that. You're half my age. When you get my age, well, I said, no, I wouldn't even listen to him. I was like, nope. I was like, I dare you. Just try it. Just try it. As easy as it is for you to have $1 billion in business on your plate, how easy would it be to choose your health and your happiness and your well-being? And he was just like lit up from our conversation last night. It was so beautiful, so beautiful. And that's truly how it is, right? It's a choice. Everything is a choice.
I love this. Yes.
The
Yes.
prison door is unlocked. You just have to push it. I love that metaphor, Ben. I love that
Mm,
metaphor. So good.
thank you. And I want to take this a layer deeper with the jar because
Hmm.
you said we're afraid to hit our heads. So what happened also is that flea is getting programming. It's getting feedback that
Hmm.
every time it's going to take a risk or try to save its life or achieve freedom, that it's going to get punished.
Right.
So I want everyone listening to consider that you may have been going after something for a lot of your life, and you've received negative feedback, or you've been punished,
Yeah.
or someone's told you that's wrong or that's bad or you shouldn't, right?
Hmm.
And yet still now in your life that like you still want to jump out of that jar. You're still ready to go see what's out there. You're
Yeah.
ready to get out of that prison cell. I want to let you know it's not too late, and
Never too late.
that you don't have to do it alone. If you
Yeah.
are afraid, one of the greatest ways that I have found access is asking for help.
Yes.
Because what if someone's walking around with a ladder, like, anybody need a ladder?
Yeah.
Anybody need a ladder? But you're just sitting there like stuck
Uh,
and like in your shit. Like, yeah.
yeah.
And where if you're just like, hey, does anyone have a ladder? Oh yeah, I've been walking around with one for ages. I never
Yeah.
thought you'd ask. Here you
Yeah.
go. And
Totally.
you get right out, right? That there's people in our life who are such easy access. If we just like go, huh, hey, will you help me?
Hey. Yeah.
Like it was when I was wanting to do a podcast and I was afraid and I thought I had to do it all by myself. And you're like, Ben, I just got this download that we should do a podcast together. And I was like, thank you. Right?
Exactly.
Like it could be that easy. Like what
It
if
is.
life is waiting for you on the other side? There's just someone right there waiting to give it to you, to hand
Right.
it to you. It
Yeah.
may not look like how we think it should look or want it to look always, but it is right there. And I love that you said this morning in the daily downloads, like the law of physics. I mean, things will return,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the
Totally.
law. You were talking about luggage on at the airport, and if you forget it, you're like, oh, then it comes back around.
Always comes
And
back
so
around,
I
right?
think part of this too is like I was like determined to get Dell to rehire me, and it did not work. And
Uh-huh.
when I finally let go,
Uh-huh.
they like surprise 3 years later, like, we have this great idea. We want to bring you back.
Yeah.
Like, you
Exactly.
mean the idea I've been trying to pitch to you for 10 years straight? But it is
Yeah.
like once I let go,
Right.
something happens. So where are we not, and you always said, I'm going to quote Daniel and Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness. If we actually allow ourselves to relax, we could receive 70% more of what we're asking for.
That's right. Because the law of the universe is ask and receive. It's not ask, barter, negotiate, stress yourself out, and then receive. The law is very simple. It's cause and effect. The law is cause and effect. The law is cause and effect. The law is ask and receive. You ask, you receive. You ask, you receive. You ask, you receive. But the problem with us, these idiot humans and humanoids we have running around, is that we ask and then we think we have to do all these other things. You just have to ask and relax and trust and know that you're going to receive what you're asking for. You know? I mean, how easy how much more ease could we have in our lives if we got that?
Mm, mm, mm.
And because
Woo.
today is a new moon, you guys, I'm telling you, spend your whole day today asking, not figuring it out, not wondering when it's going to show up. Just spend the day asking. Okay?
That's great advice. That's a great place to start. I think if we haven't been really willing to ask or really willing to receive, like where
Yeah.
can we start to do that more? So let's spend our day doing that. I think that's a great place to close today.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm so
And
happy to be back here with you, Daniel.
me
It's in
too.
this
I
space.
am so excited and so happy and so just inspired as always by all of your energies and all of you who are listening everywhere on YouTube, Instagram. It's so cool. I mean, it's so awesome. I
I
mean,
love this. Yeah, I want to give a really special shout out to Pete from Pay to Drive.
thank you, Pete.
Jason, happy always. Vario
Jason,
Trip,
Brenda.
Bren. Yeah, those people, Guillermo, all of those
Mhm.
people, Arena, who have been listening to this show for an
Yeah.
entire season. We are now in season 2, and it is really because of you and because of this energy, because of you being here. So I just want to thank you so much for each and every one.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it is just such a blessing. And we do this with you and for you. And if there's anything that you'd love to hear us talk about, please don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us. If you don't
Absolutely.
follow this podcast online, please go do so. That's how you can help us get this message out. Help us help you, help them.
That's right.
Right?
Amazing.
So
Guys,
please,
thank you so
yeah,
much.
thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you to everyone. And we'll see you same time, same place next week. How about that?
Let's do it.
Let's
All
do it.
right. Have a beautiful